citizens?
No citizen comments.
Do I need to say that over? Okay. No citizen comments. Okay, we need to approve the minutes of the meeting on February 5th, 2026. Does any,
Move to approve the minutes from
okay, do
February
we have
26th.
a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, so moving on to the 2026 Orchid Awards nomination discussion and decisions.
Okay, give me 1 second to catch up with you guys. Okay, so since I knew that I would have a couple folks on Zoom, I have a PowerPoint, and we'll go through photos via the PowerPoint. That way everyone can look at it together. And then we can make some decisions so I can make the actual things, get the ad ready, all those other bits that I have to do prior to the actual awards. Okay, so remember how to do all the things. Okay. Bob and Lisa, can you see my screen with the photos?
I can.
Fantastic. Okay. So on our, so I don't have photos of everything just because it was not possible. But I do have photos of several. So Lisa had filled out a nomination form for 524 Main Street, which is the first photo that we see. So if you guys remember, this was originally issued a certificate of appropriateness back in, I believe, 2020, and then again in 2021. And then I think we did one maybe last year in 25 when it changed to the mango tree. So this was a complete rehab of the building, and they added this wood kind of front thing, and they added a little patio thing for seating. And then over here at 530, there's an entrance to the apartments that they had done upstairs, again with kind of a wood trim and metal entrance that matches these bifold doors that they installed. So this is one we have not recognized. This one, it is, you know, kind of a nice improvement to the area, and nice to have that restaurant addition. So that one was done by Lisa. The second one is 804 13th Ave. I do not have photos of that property. I did swing by to take photos, but they were in the middle of redoing the roof, and so it was a little messy. But this is a, I'm not positive if it was actually a house at one point that was turned into apartments. I believe it was built as an apartment house. But it is a house, it's on 8th, it is across the street from A&B Foods. I think it changed ownership probably recently. They've repainted it, they've re-roofed it, they've cleaned up the yard and done some landscaping.
White house in the corner, kind of?
Yes, yeah, it was white and now it's like a light blue color.
Okay.
Yeah, and it has like the multi-angled roof.
Yeah, they have done a lot there.
Yeah, so they've done a lot of work on that place, and it's very nice. I drive by it every day on my way to work. That is one that Greg also had mentioned that he thought might be deserving because they have kind of brought it back to life, if you will. Next one is 201 and 207 Capitol Street. This is one that Dennis had brought up. And this is right across the street from us here at the Bell Building. This was just, I mean, they've just freshened up the paint, basically, and then they fixed the broken door. So this is like that main entrance. We did a certificate of appropriateness a couple years ago for the print shop that's in here, and they did some signage on their windows that you guys reviewed and approved. And so just recently, they've just repainted, same color. So that wasn't something that needed approval from you guys, but have just freshened it up, kind of cleaned it up. And then, like I said, this door had been broken, And so replaced the door again, cleaned it up, refreshed the paint. And Dennis thought that maybe, it was something small, but it's a large building on a corner, that maybe it, needed some recognition just because they have been kind of
And that's a really old building too.
making it look nicer than it was. So something to consider. 625 D Street, I don't have photos of this. I must have lost them in my deck. They were included in the packet that went out to you guys though. That is the K&G construction building where they did the addition and the second story on it. It's not a historic structure. It is, gray. But it is nice. It does blend in with some of the other newer structures that are along that D Street corridor, like the building at Howell Machine, which is across the street from it. And they have fully completed it, but so that one's kind of maybe a weird one. I don't, it would be nice to recognize it, but I don't know how you fit it into the categories, would be my only concern. Because I know with other new constructions, we have used, preservation sensitive or, I don't know, it can be a contribution to historic preservation because they're not preserving anything.
No, I think the only one would be 3, and even then
Yeah, so preservation sensitive new construction, I feel like it would be a stretch, but that is up to the commission. So if there is an argument for recognizing it just as an improvement to the area, we've stretched before, we could stretch again. Okay. I'm going to go out of order here, sorry. So we're gonna skip 222 Prospect Boulevard, I will get back to that one. So then the next one is 305 Prospect Ave, again, in a large apartment house, it's on the corner. So this is the picture that I included in your packet. Again, the owner of the property has repainted and is doing some refreshing, basically, to make it look nice. And then Lorinda also very kindly went out and took additional photos for us. So here you can see kind of the entire structure repainted in that nice light gray. And here's a better picture of the front.
They redid the windows, and at night it's got 3 things on each side that light up at the top of the roof line.
Oh, they did lights up there? Oh, cool. So again, a building that has been around for ever and has been an apartment house for 40 years, ever since I've lived on Prospect, and has just been, updated and refreshed by the owner. So one to consider. It does look very nice. It is a very prominent house. It's right at the top of Prospect Grade, and that first thing you see when you get to the top of the hill. So nice to see them doing some work and trying to make it look nicer. And then one that had come up because we had done 2 different certificates of appropriateness, and actually one of the electrical inspectors reminded me of it in doing an inspection. This is 222 Prospect Boulevard. They are not complete yet. So I did walk over there and I took a photo. This was one where they tore down a much smaller, kind of dilapidated carriage house and are replacing it with a larger carriage house that matches the construction of the main house. So this one might be just something that we keep in mind for 2028, since it's not complete yet. And maybe by then they also were doing like a portiche off the back of the house. They have not started that project yet. So it might be something where we can recognize them for both at that time. So anyways, it was one that had been brought up, so I did want to just show everybody where it was in its construction, even though it's not complete. So then, again, I'm skipping around, sorry. So 1209 Main Street. So this is the Bargain Hunter Mall. Apartments are going in the upstairs. They are not fully complete. The downstairs Bargain Hunter Mall part is complete. They just had their final this past week to be signed off on.
but the exterior's done.
The exterior is done, because he didn't touch very much with the exterior. So they didn't change any of this historical name, paint stuff, ditto with the side, any of that historical stuff. It does have this new elevator shaft building that was built on the one side to accommodate the elevator to get people up to that third floor. And then they did redo the front two areas right here. This is windows, this is the door. If you remember, it used to have the stairs outside that were super steep and always a little questionable to go up. Those are gone. So now they have interior stairs that are very nice and a lift. So if you were not able to transverse the stairs, it's not an elevator, it's an actual like little lift. You go in, you close the door, you go, whoop. It's very cool. And then ditto, this had been that garage area and like it just had parking. And so it's been redone and that's the other entrance to the apartments that are upstairs. So yeah, so that one, the interior stuff is still in progress. The exterior stuff is all done. But it was one that had been brought up
Do you know
also.
how many apartments are up there? Just curious. That really matters.
Off the top of my head, I don't. I want to say it's like 24. I
Oh,
think there's
really?
12.
More than you think.
Yeah.
It's a big building, like, there's a lot of space up here. Yeah, I think it's 24, because I think it's like
I'm thinking like maybe
6666, I think is how it goes, and I think the corridor is down the middle, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
Don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure that that's what it is. Okay, so that's 1209. So 725 Prospect. So this is one that had been mentioned before, so this is the picture that I included in the packet. And then again, Lorinda was lovely enough to go take some additional photos for us. So I don't even know how many years ago, several years ago, prior to me staffing this commission, the porch cover and porch were added on, and then they did the fencing, and I think the patio cover thing had actually been there, maybe in a different configuration for quite a while. But different views of it. As a little garage off the corner. This is a closer view of that kind of patio area. So again, just another house. I did not find record of us recognizing it in the past. It does have some changes to it. There is some history with it being
Jack
O'Connor's house. So again, one for the commission to discuss and see if we would like to recognize it and what category we think it should go into. And then I do not have photos of the 4 individuals or 5 individuals that had been brought up. So again, that would just be discussion. Specifically called out was Stephen Branting and Spencer Branting for the LHS museum work that they did at the old LHS campus. Mark Alexander for his just contribution to the downtown corridor as a whole. So he is the owner of 1209 Main Street. We have recognized a couple other buildings of his that he has updated, but not him as a contributing preservationist. And then ditto for Patricia Keith. She was recognized one other time. I believe Dennis thought specifically she should be recognized for the Rocky Temple stuff and that collection exchange and her work there. And I believe she was previously recognized for something in Chinese history. I do not recall off the top of my head. And then ditto Vincent Zhang, same thing also with the Chinese project. So that's what I have on the list that was kind of generated by the commission at January and February meetings. So I would open it for discussion with you guys.
Well, I'd like to say, first off, it's nice to have choices to pick from. I mean, as hard as it is to make a decision, I think we have some really good things.
Yeah, lots of
yes.
things this time for sure.
I think my struggle is wanting to recognize people or projects that have been undertaken to help encourage. But I also want the award to mean something. And so just because somebody painted their house doesn't necessarily, to me, qualify for this kind of recognition. So I kind of go back and forth on
Right.
like how,
What level of
yeah,
improvement
what level of
we would really like to see.
improvement warrants it. And we can start at the top with tapped, you know, I'll go ahead, and my thoughts are, you know, we approved it. I think they did a nice job as far as the historic corridor, keeping it, you know, where the changes weren't terrible. I mean, obviously, we felt like we could
Accept those changes,
accept
yeah.
those changes. I don't necessarily think it preserved, like, I'm just waffling on that one as far as like,
Which one is this?
if it preserved tapped, mango
524
trees.
Main Street.
Mango, okay, that's what I thought we were at, okay, just wanted to make sure.
If it really, it didn't really bring back anything, it still looks more modern, but acceptable for our approval, so.
And they did do a lot of work there, though.
They
bringing up the
did,
code
but,
department, yeah.
but with doing the outside, you know, we look at the outside, I'm like,
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what everybody else's thoughts are on that, but I'm kind of up in the air on that one.
I think the work that they did on Mango allowed it to continue to be used and bring it into the 21st century in using what would be a commercial look today, aesthetic, and yet and keep it and yeah, just bring it forward and to continue to be used. And I also like the fact that they were able to find another restaurant to go in there when Tapped closed. That was they didn't. I don't know that they had to do that or not, but that was a nice touch as well.
Yeah, because you hate to see a building get renovated in any manner and then just sit empty, right?
Yeah, exactly. Sit empty, but I think they did just a nice touch of bringing it forward into the 21st century. Although it's not historic, it allows it to be used. I think and contribute to the downtown corridor.
You have a picture before on that one? Just curious. You have a picture
I think I
before?
provided it in one packet, but I don't know
did
that
too. I lost it on my phone, that's why I was asking. Let's see, I think you
but I
did.
don't think I have it handy. The big things were, so when it had been some kind of restaurant, it had like, remember it had been like an Italian restaurant and it had like red, white, and green panels and it had kind of a dilapidated awning cover.
Oh, I think it definitely looks better. I guess I get more stuck on it didn't
Being
get
so modern.
restored. It's more modern industrial kind of look to me.
Yes.
And so as far as preserving history, I'm like, well, it preserved the building, I guess, but it didn't necessarily preserve the look and the feel as much as I personally would like to see for an honor, but I don't know.
That's it.
Oh, okay,
I just went to their site.
okay, thank you. That's good.
So maybe it's not contribution to historic preservation, maybe, I mean, again, like I said, sometimes you gotta stretch a little bit. Maybe it's preservation sensitive new construction, so enhances a historic neighborhood or historic theme, where they did maintain all of the brickwork on the second story. They did replace and improve windows up there, they kept the parapet, but did make some changes to that first story entrances, specifically kind of breaking it into the two entrances since it now has the little office area and then the restaurant section separate. And I honestly don't even remember what had been on the like 530 side when the restaurant stuff had been done.
Does anybody have any other thoughts on that?
I mean, it definitely sounds like the group would like to see us recognize them in some way. So I think it's determining which of the categories is appropriate.
Yeah, Katie, I submitted my thoughts on that and the category, but I don't have, because I'm zooming and I don't have that in front of me easily. I'm afraid
Yeah, and
to
I'm sorry,
read
Bob,
the
I
screen.
do not remember, like, I remember getting that email, I remember reading that email, I do not remember, which part you thought.
Yeah, I
I
apologize.
think on Lisa's, she put contribution to historic preservation.
Yes, I think so.
I think that would be the most accurate one,
Is contribution.
is contribution if we were gonna do it.
Go through all of them first and then vote.
Sure.
We can, yeah.
Okay, we can move on to 804, excuse me, 804 13th Avenue. That would be the house across from A and B.
So like I said, I don't have photos of that one. That is one where it's mostly just painting, roofing, yard work.
It looks a lot better.
It does look a lot better. It is a prominently placed one. It's one of those ones that sits up high on a major thoroughfare. But Leah is correct. The commission needs to determine if a new paint job is, I guess, enough improvement to be recognized.
Well, the price of paint, $50 a gallon. you
Right,
know.
there's that. There's that.
Well, for example, like, this has been 30 years ago, but there's a house on the corner of actually 8th and, boy, I don't know if it's 10th, it's the Victorian, and it had been pretty run down and looked terrible. People had bought it, they painted it, but they did the whole Victorian look. They did the colors, the
Oh, yeah, did all
detail,
of it.
and then they added
The painted lady.
picket fence. And then, yeah, they did the painted lady look. They did the picket fence. They added planting a garden that was like appropriate to the house and the Lewiston. And something like that where it's an all-out restoration back to what Victorians are supposed to be. Now that is something I would be happy to recognize. I guess something that's just, been neglected for years and now it's got a paint job and the roof that they needed. But if they had gone into the detail and if they had done more of that kind of stuff, then I would lean more that way. So those are my thoughts.
That makes sense. Well, and last year we did, the one house that we did recognize had been done that way,
And they're
right?
working really hard, that house, they had I think dry rot around the windows. And so they were going in and having a carpenter reshape and cut and trim all that
Yep,
out
do all
to
the
the
little things.
original level that it was rather than doing something cheaper and easier. So that was something, yeah, I was thrilled to see. So anyway, those are my thoughts.
I think that I agree with Leah that about trying to recognize those that truly brought, really truly related to the historical preservation. But I look at the list and I think probably the decision is a bigger collective decision. Most of these on here don't meet what Leah was just talking about. So maybe the discussion is, are we going to make this pretty selective and just hand out a couple a year? Or are we trying to bring more awareness and stretch it a little bit? And I don't have a real feeling either way. I'm fine with whichever it is. But in looking at these, a lot of them have not followed just what Leah was explaining with, bringing back the historical preservation portion of it. They've improved the property, but they haven't improved it in that historical preservation mode. I don't feel like. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I think off the top of my head, I would say 1209 Main Street, the Bargain Hunters Mall project, I think was done very well. And I would feel good about that. I mean, he didn't even touch the paint on the bricks. And improved access and safety, usability, but yet it still looks like we remember. So that one I don't have a problem with. And then all of the individuals I'm thrilled to recognize. The others, I'm just not real comfortable with besides the 1209 Main Street.
Well, I think we could all agree that Bargain Hunters Mall should be included. Maybe I shouldn't be speaking for everybody, but I agree. But I think we could expand it to be a little more inclusive of folks who are improving the properties and enhancing the neighborhood with a paint job or a new roof where, like you say, bring more recognition to the awards and a little more expansive. I know the last go around we were pretty slim pickings, I believe.
Yes. Well, and so just to give like some background, so at some point, the commission decided to adopt these specific standards that come from like the National Orchid Awards. Prior to that, the commission awarded awards on vastly different criteria that did not match this. And so the commission gave out stuff for things that seemed much more minor, I guess, and just going back through, you know, decades worth of these awards and reading like nominations and then reading the synopses that were done for the award. So I think that using these criteria does it does make it a little more selective, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing, but at the same time, I think we are in a time period in Lewiston where people are not super aware of what the commission does or that the commission even exists. And I think if we could do some things that maybe recognize more folks, that might be a positive for the commission as a whole in, you know, attracting members, attracting interest, making it more known, you know, about the certificate of appropriateness process, you know, that kind of stuff. So I think it's kind of a balancing act.
Maybe we could have another category, whether we do it this time or next time, but where, well, I don't know what we would call it, but some sort of,
mention.
I was just gonna say honorable mention, and that people are recognized for, you know, cleaning up their property, you know, oh, they
Well,
got
so
it.
heritage stewardship calls out long-term maintenance and care of historic architecturally significant sites and structures.
But I think then you're getting what's architecturally significant.
That's true. I guess I'm leaning kind of hard on the long-term maintenance part of that
Yeah,
one.
yeah. I think it would be nice to do something, you know, the honorable mention thing.
Maybe
where
we
we're
do an
thanking
honorable,
people.
I mean,
Well, can we do that this year?
I feel like we could do whatever we want, honestly.
Yeah.
Like.
Let's consider that.
So maybe so maybe we award 1209 Main, because I think that it very much would fit under contribution to historic preservation. Maybe we award the 5 individuals for their work on various.
Did Dennis nominate these people, and did he turn anything in on them?
He nominated the Jack O'Connor house, which they did a lot. You can't see, that was in terrible shape. They, on the outside of the building, in between the garage and the house there, they put a walkway in and closed that. There was sewer from the 3rd floor down to the basement from the interior that they totally redid. They did all the wallpaper. They kept the original French doors on the outside. The back of the yard was raspberry bushes awful, and it was, the yard was basically dead. So they redid all that on the outside too. They did so a lot of it you don't see, but that's a very prominent house. Going there talking, it was pretty interesting to talk to him because he's a talker anyway, Mr. Husenfeld, but the different famous people that have come here, like the Shah of Iran, and just, you know, just different people, famous people that have come to the area to visit when Jack owned the house. And I think with the museum that they have, it would be, that's an important house to keep. I think the historical, you know, it's an important house for the valley, I think.
Dennis specifically had suggested Patricia Keith and Vincent Sang.
And Jack O'Connor too. He did mention we talked.
Yeah, the Jack O'Connor House,
Yeah.
as the people. Stephen Brantine, Spencer Brantine, I believe was, Greg's suggestion. So neither of them filled out paperwork. I think Greg might have also mentioned Mark Alexander just for the number of buildings within the downtown corridor that he has purchased and rehabbed.
A lot of choices this year.
I just feel like, honestly, I have no idea who 11 and 12 are people. And I think that if we're going to award people and we have a process, I think people should be turning stuff in on them so that the commission, I understand some people on the commission have been on a long time and know who's who in town. But I would doubt that Bob knows who 11 and 12 are. I don't, and I've lived here almost 20 years. And maybe it's just because I'm naive to the situation. But I think if we have a process and you want the commissioners to turn information in, I think to award it, people should be turning something in so that the commission can make an informed vote on it. However, if the commission wants, I trust Leah. If she thinks that they need to be awarded, then I guess so be it. But maybe it could be tightened up a little bit next year, if people could turn stuff in so the commission could make an informed vote on it.
I do make that request of you guys every time. So I'm going to push that back on you guys. I do make that request that form is filled out and that information is provided so that we can review it. Patricia Keith is a former LCSE professor. She has made several short documentary films regarding the Chinese in the area. She was awarded for one of those documentary films maybe a decade ago. She does a lot of work with the Historical Society in regards to the Chinese, their presence in the valley, and that's kind of her wheelhouse, I'd say.
Yeah, I didn't realize that there wasn't a formal thing being turned in for them. I do know both of them. I worked very closely with Patricia on her documentary film. I managed the grant that we got for it. And then Vincent was very helpful on that project. And then my understanding is that he has continued with the Chinese artifacts and the temple and the movement from the Center for Arts and History to the museum. So they are very deserving, but I also agree with Lisa. I know if I didn't know them personally,
Right, you wouldn't know that stuff.
I wouldn't know that stuff, and I would have a hard time casting my vote in good conscience when I knew nothing. So, the project is ongoing over there. They're working up to having a temple built, so there's going to be more opportunity to recognize that entire project and the people with it. So if we wanted to table 11 and 12, and then make sure that we get something written up and 2 years from now for them, that would be great. I don't know if anything was submitted for 9 and 10.
No, it was just an idea.
And that's fine. I'm not saying don't award them. And Katie, I was not meaning it toward you at all. I think we just need to talk with Dennis and Greg and just emphasize we're continuously recruiting new people to come on. There are people that are coming into the air, like Kaylee, for example. I think if we're going to try to recruit people, then we have to make an effort to try and inform people too. So it wasn't on you, Katie, at all. So,
but is everybody familiar enough with Mark Alexander and Steve and Spencer's stuff to feel like they could do that, or should we keep it to the written nomination on them as well?
If you're going to recognize the building, Bargain Mall building, then Alexander would already be recognized as.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I think his profile is high enough in the city that if he hasn't personally received an award, but his buildings have, I think.
Yes, that is correct.
And I think he's deserving as an individual.
Yeah,
yeah,
I do too.
that's fine.
He's terminally ill.
And Brantines
What?
are fine. I'm totally fine with Brantines there. He's been more than helpful to us at any time we need anything, and I think
Yes.
he's made a real contribution.
So which one do we want to put Mr. Alexander under? Are we going with like friend of preservation?
Non-professional.
or distinguished
That's a professional.
preservationist, but that's a professional, or heritage stewardship would be the other one. I think that would probably, individuals that have shown
I like that
dedication to historic preservation through long-term maintenance and care of historic, architecturally significant, or culturally important sites and structures.
I think that one,
That
the,
one's
Yeah.
probably the most appropriate one, given.
yeah, and that's the one people approach him under, asking for his help with these buildings.
Okay.
And he stepped up to that, so I like number 7 for Mark Alexander,
Okay.
if everybody's okay with that.
Does everyone kind of agree
Yeah.
that that seems to be the appropriate
Yep.
one for him? Okay, so then the Brantines. So the Brantines established the LHS Museum and have collected, I don't even know, hundreds of items kind of depicting the history of the high school and its various clubs and memberships and organizations associated with. So then again, which one do we think is most appropriate?
I'd say either 4 or 6.
Yeah, I was gonna say cultural heritage might be the way to go with that one, because that one says awarded to educational programs and projects that have made a positive impact towards the preservation of cultural heritage and open spaces, as well as the restoration and rehabilitation of historic landmarks or roadside architecture. So I would say, it's not cultural as in like, tribe or the Chinese or et cetera. But it is, I think you could have an argument for the culture of high school and the way that and education and the way that it has changed over, the decades. I think you can make an
Part of
argument for that
Lewiston,
for sure.
yeah, Lewiston's culture, sure.
The other one would be Friend of Preservation, which is awarded to non-professional individuals for distinguished for service in historic preservation. This would include, but not limited to, those who volunteer for preservation organizations, historical societies, or museums.
Cultural one, this.
I feel like cultural might be the way to go on that one.
Yeah, I
think
think,
so, too.
I think
I think
6
the
for cultural preservation.
Okay, so are we all kind of in agreement that the Brantings
Yes.
would be in cultural preservation? Super. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So what I'm getting from this is that we've got Bargain Hunters Mall, or let me say this, 1209 Main Street as number 2, contribution to historic preservation. And then we have Stephen and Spencer Branting for cultural heritage preservation, and Mark Alexander for heritage stewardship. And we were only going to do the one building unless somebody feels like we need to discuss any of the others further.
Well, and so that would be the other part, is you guys had talked about doing honorable mentions. Do we
want
want to
painted maybe?
recognize the other ones, with the exception, like I said, of 222 Prospect Boulevard, since it is not complete, and we'll put it on the list for next time.
Well, and they finish it the way they're planning, that could actually be something bigger because
Yes, it will be something bigger because
it's quite the project.
Yes. So do we want to look at doing an honorable mention for 524 Main, 803 13th, the Capitol Street Building, 625 D Street, 305 Prospect Ave, and 725 Prospect Ave?
I'm not opposed.
For all of those?
Do we think all of them are deserving of an honorable mention?
See, I would say
Is it?
725 Prospect, so the Jack O'Connor house. That apartment was done up nice, so the 305. And then I haven't seen 13th Avenue. So I'm not sure on that one.
13th Avenue looks nice.
Okay,
Like it's on par with the 305. where
okay, and then so
They have
80
done some extensive changes to kind of the whole outside of
it
it,
needed it.
very
What
much
was
so.
that address you're saying?
804
That's at 804 13th Ave.
That's the,
And then repainted,
88 and 81.
redid all the peaks and valleys on
Oh, okay,
the roof, redid the gutter system,
Yeah, I
like
agree with that one.
Okay.
it looks really nice.
Yeah, that-
And I think that was one of the reasons I brought it up, and Greg brought it up, because I drive by it every single day, and so I would see people out there working, and then I was like, oh, look at you, look at you.
And then I would be okay with an honorable mention for Taft, because it is being taken care of. They've allowed it to be used. It is nice looking. So for an honorable mention, I would be okay with that. But, so that would be 4. K and G, I am a no. It's just a new building. The garage, hopefully when it's done. The recyclers, I think I would have needed to see some more preservation type work done on it in order to,
Right, like it's literally just paint.
yeah, and it's kind of just repairing what needed to be
Yes,
fixed.
it's definitely a maintenance
Yeah,
situation rather than.
so I appreciate it, but I don't know that I
Okay,
would say.
any other thoughts from the group?
I'm in agreement with Leah.
Yeah, those 4 sound good to me.
Okay, so I'm gonna review just to make sure that we're all on the same page. So I have 524 Main Street with an honorable mention. I have 804 13th Ave with an honorable mention. I have, we're gonna skip the 207 Capitol Street, we're gonna skip 625 D Street. We're gonna save 22 Prospect Boulevard for the 28 awards. 305 Prospect Avenue will be an honorable mention. 1209 Main Street will be a contribution to historic preservation. 725 Prospect Avenue will be an honorable mention. Stephen and Spencer Branting will be a cultural heritage preservationist award. Mark Alexander will be a heritage stewardship award, and then Patricia Keith and Vincent Sang we will keep for 2028. Did I get all that correct?
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
so do we need a motion on that?
Yes,
Okay,
I did mark it as an action item, so yes, let's,
Okay.
someone,
so would somebody like to make a motion to accept what Katie just read as our nominations for the 2026 Orchid Award?
I so move.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
I
Any opposed?
fantastic. Okay,
All right, we have our list.
wonderful.
So now it's time for commissioner comments. Does anybody have anything that they would like to comment on? Okay,
Next meeting date is it before the awards?
Yes,
Okay.
we'll get there.
how about our council liaison?
Just, is there anything that you want me to, in particular, report back to city council about
Yes.
today's meeting?
One would be just the reminder to, like when you guys do your council comments or whatever, the reminder that our Orchid Awards is gonna be on May 9th. It'll be at 11 o'clock. It'll be over at the Nez Perce Historical Society Museum in the Capitol Building. Everyone is invited to attend. And then 2 would be that I am now down 2 commissioners. And so we could let folks know that if they are interested in joining the commission, they can get an application from the city clerk.
Also, don't we need the mayor to declare rain?
Yes, I've already put that on. I will talk about that in my part.
Okay. Well,
Meeting assignments.
I just had a question, just real quick. Katie, do you notify these people that they're going to be awarded at
Yes.
the? Okay.
Yeah, they get if I have phone numbers for them, I call them. Otherwise, everybody gets a letter saying that they would be honored and invited to the thing. That's how I normally do it.
Okay, and then I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but Joel, while you were gone, Joel sent out a special meeting.
Yes. Yep, no, I'm gonna talk about that too.
Okay, all right.
I have lots of things to talk about during my time.
is there anything else for our council liaison?
Just the building, Nez Perce Historical Capitol Building, is that what you said?
So
The
the
Historic
museum.
Society Museum
Historic Society.
is over here, kitty corner from us. And we do it in the Capitol Building, which is that little brown
Wood.
wood cabin looking thing.
Ah, okay.
Follow the people.
Follow the people.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Well, does our staff have anything?
I have all kinds of stuff there. Okay, so yes, one, I did submit the proclamation request to City Council for May to be declared Historic Preservation Month, like we do every year. That will be on the, sorry. That is on the April 27th council meeting agenda. So if any commissioners would like to be present to that, it's always done at the very beginning of the meeting, right after they do the Pledge of Allegiance. It's a pretty quick thing. They just present us a pretty proclamation thing, and then he reads the proclamation, the mayor does.
Excuse me, did you say April 27th?
April 27th, 6 p.m.
6, okay.
Yep, at the library,
Okay,
regular
thank you.
council meeting. Do be there at 6 p.m. though, because like I said, it's the first thing that happens. So any commissioners that want to come, I will send out an email reminder about that too, because I will need to notice for possible quorum if commissioners do want to come. So that is, I've already done that, so that's in the works and scheduled. So then our next regular meeting is going to be May 7th. So that's 2 days before our Orchid Awards on May 9th. And then Lisa is correct. While I was out last week, we received a application for a certificate of appropriateness for signage in the downtown corridor. So Joel did send out a request for 2 different meeting dates for a special meeting. I kind of tallied it yesterday. So April 30th at 10 a.m. here, there will be a special meeting. I will have that packet sent out later today.
April what?
April 30th,
Fine.
10 a.m. here. And that's actually it's like a dual application because it's for both signage and to repaint a building. So you'll see, I'll send that out, like I said, later today. I have to do the notice first. I think that's all. So then at the May 7th meeting, we'll kind of just go over kind of the basic stuff for the Orchid Awards. If I receive anything else that needs to be reviewed prior to that, that would also be included on that agenda. And then the Orchid Awards are on May 9th. They are at 11:30. I usually ask that commissioners show up half an hour early to help with the setup. In the past, I have ordered like a cookie and a sandwich tray, and then I usually have water and lemonade available. So that's my plan again. Yeah, and then I just need help from commissioners to like set up the chairs and stuff. The museum's really good about having kind of everything sort of ready for us, but they don't have the manpower to actually set everything up. So I do need commissioners to help with that part.
Is Dennis gonna be there?
Yes, and Dennis has said that he will be able to do the speaking. So that's currently the plan. Otherwise, I would probably do the speaking, I guess. Yeah, so that's it. And then just a reminder, we do have 2 open seats on the commission currently. And so if you know anybody, please spread the word. I did send out a mailing like 6 weeks ago, like I have in the past, to about 250 folks up in like the Normal Hill area. I just did a pin drop on our GIS and grabbed a mailing list looking for people who might want to join. That's been pretty successful for me in the past. I have not gotten any responses this time. So yeah, if you have any friends, any family, any people you know, any people you work with, any people who have been like, I really need something else to do with my time on Thursday mornings at 10 a.m. Please encourage them to either contact me or the city clerk to get an application and come hang out with us. That's all I got.
Will do.
Well, if there's, Lisa, did you have something?
Oh.
Uh-oh, we can't hear you.
You're muted, Lisa.
Sorry, I'm out of town May 7th through 10th. My daughter's graduating from college, so I'm sorry I won't be able to be there.
I had you on my list of not available.
Okay, all right.
Okay, well, if there's nothing else, then I will call for adjournment. If anybody has a motion for that.
I motion that we adjourn.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, all those in favor of adjournment say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay.
Very good. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, folks.